Scan. This is about early videotape technology, the way this movie just merged sexuality and videotape. This is remarkable. You guys, obviously, I think one of you said to me, if somebody thinks it's a bad idea, we actually love it, right? And talk a little bit about that, about what brought you, was it the creepiness? What was it that you guys really sparked to?
I mean, it's probably the same thing as that Greg sparked to. I mean, I was really familiar with the Bob Crane case, and so I was always very fascinated by it. I think it's but the fact that we're able to do it with humor and also with that thing you said earlier, where that makes of celebrity and technology. There's a sense that Bob Crane, by being just an actor on a television show, had got what he considered the keys to the kingdom. And he sort of was a guy who women just wanted to be with him all the time. And so that happened at the exact same time that this technology was invented, that he thought was almost like a miracle, some kind of weird thing that oh my God, you can take a videotape and see it the next day. And sort of, it was just, I thought it was a very fascinating story.
And Michael, I wanted to ask you, how much, was there much material taken from the book, or where was the material for this? Where did you get most of your stuff for the movie? Like, he's talking about the riffing. Was that stuff that was made up, or?
I don't remember.
The scene of him walking in the bar, which is such an incredible.
It's mostly made up.
Okay, that's just a great scene, and that's such a wonderful scene, and the way you pull that off is just absolutely great. So most of it is just made up.
I think a lot of it was, Graysmith goes into great detail about how he was living his life towards the end of his life, and the sort of third act and all the horror story of the third act, so I took stuff out of that and put it into, what we call scenes, but it was just facts when I read the book.
Now, I know all of you have said that the original script was a lot funnier. Can you give some examples of what was in there that was a lot funnier?
Comedy.
I mean, yeah, it's more sensibility, I think. Schrader, I think he did a great job, but he's not, the guy who worked taxi driver is not easy with jokes, So, but I don't really think it's more like the tone got a little darker.
And were there disagreements? Was this before Greg was involved, or after, or all along?
Greg was on first. Greg was on before Paul.
Okay. So, were there disagreements?
There were little disagreements all along, but nothing extraordinary. There was Scott really fought for that scene in the bar, that scene where he turned on the television. I remember that almost got cut once, and Scott.
Oh my God. That was like right at the end of the schedule. That was one of those little scenes that just keeps getting pushed down, like kicked down the road, because it's it's a little third of a day, and it's a dumb little set that's not used anywhere else. And I think it was tied to the disco location. We finally got it right before the wrap.
Okay.
And then the last thing we shot?
Yeah.
The very last thing. It was so perfect. It was a water skiing. With the blue screen, and again, it was another one of these dumb things where Paul gets, we don't need it, but it's funny and it's fun, and it's like, Paul, it's just a piece of blue. It's a piece of blue, and the piece of blue was just being carried around in the truck every day of a shoot. We'd never get that. It was just making me nuts. And finally, it was the last, very, very, very last thing we shot, and it was, I remember the dailies, which is great. You were water skiing, and it's like a parody of how people think movies get made. Guys off stage with buckets, just throwing buckets of water, and his face, and just over and over, and then Greg just turns to the camera and says, "I hate this movie." And then the film rolls out. We're done.
Okay, black that out of my memory. So Greg, I know there's a scene in the movie where you're being interviewed, and I believe that's Bob Crane Jr., correct?
Right, yes.
Right, the religious guy, right, interviewing you.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about, did you spend a lot of time with